This is Corbin Smith with the Seahawks Wire. With the NFL season officially underway, it's time for another film breakdown. This week, I'm going to look at new Seahawks wide receiver Jaron Brown. He's got good size at 6'2", 205 pounds, and last year for the Arizona Cardinals, he posted career highs in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. These numbers could have been even better with improved quarterback play, but the Cardinals struggled with three different signal callers, including Blaine Gabbert and Drew Stanton. With these two lifelong backups taking extended snaps for Arizona, Brown and his fellow wide receivers had to deal with a lot of ugly passes like this one. It's difficult for any offense to function when you're rotating quarterbacks in and out of the lineup, so Arizona had a tough time finding consistency with its passing game. Still, Brown overcame the sloppy quarterback play and miscommunication to post the best numbers of his career. Now, the big question, can he replace speedy Paul Richardson in Seattle's offense? To start off this breakdown, I'm going to look at Brown doing the dirty work as a blocker. He's a serviceable blocker. This is something that often goes unnoticed to the casual NFL fan, but he's willing to stick his head into the fight. I'm not going to compare him to a Golden Tate or a Jermaine Kearse, who were two of the better blocking receivers I've seen on the Seahawks. First specific play I want to look at was against the Seahawks in Week 10. Brown's going to fly inside and attempt to block Delano Hill. He needs to watch getting his hands outside of the shoulder pads. Technically, he needs a little bit more refinement as a blocker, but he does a good job holding his own and allowing Ellington to get in the end zone. One other play that I want to look at, this stood out to me from the stands in Week 17. I was at this game. Jaron Brown and Larry Fitzgerald put on a clinic here for how wide receivers should block in the run game. Brown seals Justin Coleman with his block. He gets his shoulders turned, helps create a nice run lane. And look at Larry Fitzgerald. He blocks Bobby Wagner and helps create that seam for Penny. Now let's transition to what the Seahawks are really paying Jaron Brown to do, and that's make plays as a wide receiver. One thing that really excites me about this kid, he's really good at improvising his routes on extended and broken plays. If you're going to be a wide receiver with the Seahawks, especially with Russell Wilson under center, this is critical. You have to have that ability to improvise your route and keep plays alive. On this play against the Seahawks, Michael Bennett gets immediate pressure on Drew Stanton, forcing him out to his right. With his quarterback under duress, Brown adjusts his route, sprints across the end zone, and provides a target for a touchdown. Looking at another example of Brown's improv skills, this time against the San Francisco 49ers. He's initially lined up in the slot on the trip side. The Cardinals are going to run play action. Brown has a 15-yard out route initially. His quarterback Carson Palmer is forced to step up in the pocket, and once that happens, Brown adjusts his route and starts going down the sideline, giving Palmer an outlet to throw the football downfield. Brown shows great awareness on this play. Not only does he know that his quarterback is under fire, he also knows where he is on the football field and reacts accordingly, providing Palmer a last-second safety valve for an explosive play. These ad-lib skills can also be seen in the red zone. With Arizona running trips to the left, Brown is the outside receiver and runs a shallow cross across the middle. With his running back motioning out to the right, Stanton doesn't have an extra protector in the backfield and is forced to vacate the pocket to his right. With his first two reads covered, Stanton throws while getting hit and finds Brown near the sideline. Close to running out of room, the veteran receiver does an excellent job shielding defenders away from the football and hauls in the catch for a short touchdown. Among his greatest strengths, Brown has a size-speed combination that allows him to thrive as a vertical threat, with good quarterback play, of course. The Cardinals missed on multiple big plays last season due to poor quarterback play. Great example against the Colts, Brown's going to blow by the corner and safety on a deep over route. Baited by the play action, the safety took a couple steps towards the line of scrimmage, allowing for Brown to gain separation. Unfortunately, Palmer's pass was slightly underthrown, allowing the Colts defenders to make up ground and knock the football out of Brown's hands. If Palmer puts the football out in front of his receiver just a little bit more, this might be a touchdown. In another example against the Philadelphia Eagles, there's only one deep safety. Brown gets by the corner on a go route. With the safety slow to react, the Cardinals should have had an explosive pass play here. But the pass is once again underthrown, allowing the corner to recover and get his hands on the pass for a deflection. Brown has the athleticism to stretch defenses both vertically and horizontally. He averaged over 15 yards a catch last year and 17 yards per reception in 2016. On this play against Tampa Bay, Brown creates inside leverage by using a jab step at the top of his stem. or the line used to get to his break point on his route. Taking advantage of the corner, turning his hips briefly to the outside, he picks up 31 yards on the post route. Along with being dangerous after the catch, Brown has the ability to take the top off of a defense as a vertical threat when the quarterback actually gets the football to him. Here against Dallas, Brown is running a seam route. He splits the zone between the corner and safety, and Carson Palmer hits him in stride for a 25-yard touchdown. Looking at one last example of Brown using his size and speed to be a game changer for the Cardinals, here against the Jaguars, they're running a cover 3 look. The corner in zone thinks he has safety help and allows Brown to get behind him. Unfortunately for Jacksonville, safety Barry Church doesn't notice Brown in time and lets him slip past him. Despite the pass being underthrown, Brown still hauls it in for a 52-yard score. As shown in those previous clips, Brown entered the league as more of a burner known for beating people vertically than a refined route runner. As he's gained more experience in the NFL, however, Brown has become more of a tactician when it comes to running routes. Rather than try to rely only on his 4.4 speed, he's become more understanding of leverage and the art of getting open. On this 10-yard out route against Indianapolis, Brown executes his stem into his break point, smoothly goes in and out of his break, and catches the football along the sideline. Brown was a bit of a one-trick pony when the Cardinals first brought him in 2013, but as he's progressed, he's expanded the number of routes that he can run efficiently and effectively. Here on this hitch against the Seahawks, he sells the go route. I'd like to see him stay squared up just a little bit longer, but he sells that go route, ends up coming back to the football, and picks up 10 yards. One of the biggest keys for being successful long-term as a receiver in the NFL is being able to understand the coverages that are being used against you. Understanding that the 49ers were in a cover 3 look here, Brown is going to find a weak spot in the zone, and he's going to sit shortly after coming out of his break on the in route, catches it for a nice gain. Brown has also become more polished on intermediate routes. Perfect example against the Houston Texans. This has kind of showed up on earlier clips, but I'm really impressed with how Brown uses his stem on each of his routes to gain leverage against defenders. Rather than sprint straight downfield, there's a little bit of a bow to his stem before his break point gains just enough separation to give Palmer a nice window to complete the pass. As those previous clips attest to, Brown has become a more versatile, more fundamentally sound route runner. I've also been really impressed with his body control. On this play against the Indianapolis Colts, Brown finds an opening in the Colts zone defense on a 20-yard out route. Palmer starts to throw the ball before Brown's even gone into his break outside. Aware that he's closing in on the sidelines quickly, Brown does an outstanding job getting both feet in bounds and makes the very difficult catch look easy. One last example that illustrates Brown's impressive body control. Here against the Dallas Cowboys, he's running a 15-yard comeback route. In hindsight, this football probably shouldn't have been thrown by Palmer. The Cowboys have 2 defenders in the vicinity ready to make a play on the football. But taking advantage of his height, Jaron Brown reaches up, high points the football. Somewhat miraculously, the acrobat in football pads gets 1 foot down and nearly pulls off one of the most impressive catches you'll ever see while getting dragged out of bounds. To wrap up this film breakdown, I want to discuss a statistic that really jumped out to me when I started researching Jaron Brown, and that was his low catch rate percentage. In fact, he has not had a catch rate percentage above 50% since the 2014 season. So this made me wonder, does this guy have issues with drops? Are his hands something that should concern the Seattle Seahawks moving forward? After looking back at all 69 targets that Brown had last season, I can definitively say his hands are not an issue. This was the only true drop that I found in my film study. This one went right through his hands against the Houston Texans. The only other drop that I found in 16 games from a year ago shouldn't have been counted as a drop. This was a poor throw by Drew Stanton on this crossing route. Brown had to adjust his route when Naz Jones dropped back in zone coverage. Gotta love the big fella back there. But this throw was behind Brown. He had to try to reach back to get it, and with Jeremy Lane bearing down on him, this is not going to be caught most of the time. If this ball was thrown where it should be out in front, that's probably a completion. Aside from those previous 2 plays, the low catch percentage can be attributed to poor quarterback play and a lot of vertical passes that have a lower hit rate to begin with. For the most part, Brown has really consistent hands. He's tough-minded, he'll go across the middle, and he'll take big hits while catching the football. A great example of this toughness here against San Francisco. Brown's running a 12-yard in route. Carson Palmer throws a strike, but it does leave his receiver hanging out to dry a bit. Still, Brown is not deterred by the oncoming contact, makes the catch, and takes the hit. Of all the redeeming qualities Brown brings to the table, his toughness might be the greatest asset to the Seahawks. Playing alongside fellow undrafted receiver Doug Baldwin, you know he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and he's the type of player that typically thrives in Seattle. He's going to do what it takes to win, whether that's beating opponents on vertical routes or catching tough passes like this one in traffic. Coming off a career year and now catching passes from a superior quarterback in Russell Wilson, the best should be yet to come for Jaron Brown in Seattle.